Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. Today, I am pleased to be joined by Dr. Joelle, Donofrio-Odmann. Many of you have seen her before, who's our Medical Director of Emergency Services at Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego, and also the Associate Medical Director for us here at the City of San Diego. Also with me today is Jessie Connor, President of Firefighters Local 145. The month of April is very critical. It's a critical month for all of us in San Diego as we work together to help flatten the curve, to do what we need to do to protect our healthcare system, to protect our frontline workers, and protect our hospital system from becoming overburdened. I want to begin Monday's briefing by thank all of San Diegans. Thank you for what you continue to do and your cooperation and your support as together we are working to prevent the spread of COVID-19. It has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of sacrifice. Thank you for doing what you're doing. We are not out of the woods yet. As we all know, April is going to be a critical month. And I encourage all San Diegans to keep it up. Keep doing your part. That's how we get over this soon as possible. Today, in today's briefing, I'm going to cover a few important topics. First, a call to all health professionals to sign up and support the expected surge in COVID-19 cases. Second, a joint announcement with our local 145 Firefighters Union. Third, our update on public safety. Fourth, a recap and a preview of efforts that we are doing to relocate homeless individuals into our San Diego Convention Center. And finally, as we do every briefing, uplifting news about San Diegans across our city who continue to step up and make all of us proud. Last Monday, I issued an executive order directing the City of San Diego to make all city property available by use by our local hospitals in the case of an expected surge. Today, we are taking it a step further by calling on all healthcare professionals to sign up and help in the fight against COVID-19. And over the course of the next couple weeks, California is expected to see that surge in cases related to this virus. And we need your help. So today we will be calling, you're going to hear from Dr. Donofrio-Odmann in just a second, all San Diegans who are medical residents, nursing students, retired medical workers, or healthcare workers who change professions to sign up today to be ready to help. You'll be given the opportunity to play a critical role in this public health emergency. And importantly, through this state effort, this database, you will be paid and you will be provided malpractice insurance coverage as well. We are expecting some type of surge, and we must be ready to provide the medical services necessary to save lives. Our city, of course, is known for its expertise in science and health and in medicine. So San Diego will continue to do its part. In order to sign up, we made it easy to go to sandiego.gov/coronavirus. You will see a link for the sign up to the California Health Corps that the governor launched last week. This is a statewide effort. And let's show California that San Diego is continuing to step up to do our part. Next update. The San Diego Fire Rescue Department is comprised, as I think all of us know, of some of the hardest working men and women in the country. They are out there every single day, and they are some of the unsung heroes during this health crisis that all of us are facing. And today I'm joined by representatives from our Firefighters Union to talk about how they are continuing to go above and beyond. Local 145 will be donated $3,000 every day for the next 19 days to local charities working with San Diegans during this time of great need. I'm going to let 145 President Jessie Connor come up here and speak to this great initiative here in just a second. But again, I can't stress how proud I am of all of our public safety personnel. They're out there day and night, they're out there helping, making these emergency 911 runs, and yet they're coming up with creative ways also to help San Diegans and charities in need, represent the best of our city. Before I get to our speakers, I'd like to provide you with a few other updates. The city and all of its communication providers have had a successful working relationship for a number of years. During this healthcare crisis, our partnership is needed now more than ever. And specifically, we recognize the importance of reliable, uninterrupted data service. It is the backbone of our public safety response network. On Friday, I had the opportunity to speak with statewide executives from Verizon to ensure cellular infrastructure is intact and that services can be counted on as we continue to respond to the COVID-19 epidemic. Government agencies, the healthcare industry, and residents are all seeing increasing demand for service using technology to communicate. Healthcare companies in particular have had a massive surge in telehealth conferences to encourage more social distancing and keep healthy individuals away from medical facilities. Verizon, during our call, our statewide call, reinforced that cellular functions around all of San Diego, including our San Diego Convention Center and SDCCU, the stadium in Mission Valley, are up to the task, which is critically important as we rely on these sites, of course, for emergency responses. San Diego is committed to not only supporting Verizon, but all of our other providers so they can continue to deploy services rapidly throughout our entire city. Now, as we regularly do, I'd like to provide additional updates related to public safety. There are no new COVID-19, no new positive tests to report from our public safety professionals at this time. This weekend, we saw a vast majority of San Diegans continue complying with the stay-at-home orders. And I received a report from Police Chief David Nislight this morning informing me that over the weekend, SDPD was out in force, as they are on every weekend and every day and every night. They're actively engaged. They did issue citations to individuals and businesses for noncompliance with our executive order. So let me just take this opportunity to remind San Diegans and how important this stay-at-home order is. It's about saving lives. I've said this before and I'll say it again. April is a critical month for us to fight the spread of this virus. So I want to remind everybody to be proactive. This means practice physical distancing. Wash your hands often, and when you wash them with soap and water for 20 seconds. Stay at home as much as possible, and if you leave your place, cover your face. Recognizing the importance with one goal, how do we bend this curve and preventing the spread of COVID-19 among some of our most vulnerable communities. Now I'd like to provide a brief update on Operation Shelter to Home. San Diego is significantly and fundamentally changing our approach to homelessness. Using the convention center, and we're tackling this coronavirus crisis and the homeless crisis at the same time. Simply put, there isn't enough room and there isn't enough staff to operate the shelters under the current model. That's why we've made some of these dramatic changes. And that's why the convention center activity is the absolute key. In less than 2 weeks, we have made great progress. We have moved dozens of families into hotel rooms secured by the county for the use by the Regional Task Force for the Homelessness. We have begun transitioning individuals from the city's bridge shelters to the convention center last week. And just yesterday, 180 veterans were moved in. And tomorrow, we will begin the final phase of moving 200 Father Joe's clients into the convention center. We are following a phased approach, and once these current shelter clients have been settled in here in the next couple days, then we will look at increasing capacity for bringing unsheltered men and women into the San Diego Convention Center. We, of course, are taking all of the appropriate actions to screen, monitor, and, if necessary, isolate individuals that are exhibiting any symptoms. And this is a great partnership with our county public health nurses. We are united in our mission, keeping people safe and keep them from returning to homelessness once they enter the doors of the iconic San Diego Convention Center. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Joelle Donofrio-Odmann to say a few words about how important it is for our healthcare workers to have this collaboration and the opportunities for people to be ready to volunteer now. Doctor?
Hey guys, thank you, Mayor. So we're almost 3 weeks into social distancing, and as we've seen, we've increased our education and our mandates to help. In the words of Dr. Eric McDonald, bend our curve. As of today, our fire and first responders for the EMS are going to begin to wear masks in the station and out in public. And of course, we'll be using medical grade masks for our patient care because we stand to protect you, the civilians, and our own. We are all in this together. Please, as the mayor directed, continue to help us out. Wash your hands, good 20 seconds, keep a social distance, stay home when you're feeling sick, and wear a mask in public. However, I would like to remind you that while we're asking you to stay home when you're sick, if you're having an emergency, we're still here for you. Non-COVID related illnesses will still happen. If you're having an emergency, a heart attack, a stroke, call 911. We're here. Emergency departments, hospitals, we've got you covered. Now, the last time I spoke, I mentioned the helpers. I'm looking for the helpers, for Mr. Rogers. When it comes to preparing our defenses to fight COVID, we need the 3 S's: staff, structure, and stuff. We're building our structure. We're increasing our capacity. We're working as a healthcare system throughout everyone to build up and get supplies and beds. But what we need is more staff. If you're medically trained, if you're not working and you're willing and you're able, please sign up to help. Every little bit helps. Now, I'd like to remind you to take care of yourselves. The things that helped your physical and mental health before COVID are needed even more than ever. Exercise, eat healthy, get your sleep. Remember to call your friends and families and say you love them. This isn't easy, but by remembering the basics, compassion, caring, kindness, we can get through this together. Please remember to treat each other well and have patience with us because we're all facing challenges each day as we explore this new horizon. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I'd like to welcome Jessie Connor, who's president of the San Diego Firefighters Local 145, to say a few words about the work they're doing and the phenomenal new program that they're launching to help San Diego charities across our city. Jessie?
Thank you, sir. First, I'd just like to thank Mayor Kevin Faulconer, all of City Council, and Fire Chief Colin Stoll for their tremendous leadership during this unprecedented time. There's no playbook for this, and a lot of times decisions have to be made on the fly, and they're truly supporting first responders well. Second, fellow San Diego City firefighter Mark Morrison and I have come down here to announce the rollout of an exciting new project that the firefighters are doing. It's called 19 Days of Donations for COVID-19. And so as Mayor Faulconer said, we are on the front lines, and that takes us into people's homes every day, and we're seeing the impacts of what the pandemic is doing to citizens. Of course, over 1,000 folks tested positive in the county, but tens of thousands of additional residents are impacted financially. And so the firefighters have been giving back out of their paycheck since 1973. They donate biweekly, and that has supported the Burn Institute, MDA, UCP, a ton of organizations, but we recognize the need to do more for the citizens during this pandemic. And so we know that nobody knows this city, nobody knows the districts better than the mayor and the council members. And so we reached out to them with this idea and are proud to do it in collaboration. We've asked them to identify the organizations that are out there doing good work to support the COVID pandemic efforts in the community. And so for 19 days, we are absolutely going to donate $3,000 to each of those organizations, but more importantly, we're going to highlight each of the mission and work of those organizations live streamed. We're going to utilize technology so that we can respect the COVID provisions and restrictions, and hopefully we'll give San Diegans some ideas on places they can reach out if they need help, or if San Diegans would like to help, places that they can donate to the effort. So once again, I want to thank the mayor and all of city staff for their support on this. And most importantly, I want to thank the 938 members of San Diego City Firefighters Local 145 who are in the stations right now doing tremendous work. And if you need us, we are going to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for your leadership and all the men and women of our fire rescue department. Now, finally, San Diego steps up. Today, we're asking for, as you know, folks to step up and help out any way you can. You heard from the doctor about retired or medical personnel that can help out. And now I'd like to share a few stories that we're hearing about how San Diegans are already stepping up. For many of us, particularly during this Holy Week and season, it's faith that brings people together and unites during these very trying times. But this fight, of course, is different. It poses new challenges, and we're asked to stay home and be socially distanced, physically distanced. And although we are physically apart, I will tell you, our faith institutions in San Diego have found very unique ways to continue to bring us together utilizing technology. For instance, the Rock Church, Islamic Center of San Diego, and the Congregation of Beth Israel have all transitioned to streaming their services online. That's just to name a few. So we can continue to get solace in our faith while following the stay-at-home directives. And all of our houses of worship have also really stepped up in helping San Diegans in need. The congregation with the church at Rancho Bernardo have stepped up to help others who are facing a food shortage because of this aggressive virus. And their campus pastor has stepped up to help really coordinate all of that efforts. This congregation, as I said in Rancho Bernardo, came together to help donate 12,000 meals to students in need, 2,000 tons of food to local schools and food pantries, and 150 care kits for isolated seniors. Another story we've heard in our faith community stepping up, comes from members of Flood Church in Kearny Mesa, or the Floodsters, as they go by. One Floodster, Natalie, heard from nurses and medical staff in her community that they were having a hard time getting groceries after a very long shift, a long shift of hours and hours and standing on their feet. So she understood that these men and women on the front lines, they're saving lives. They may not make it to the grocery store, may not have time. So she reached out to Trader Joe's, and they were willing to donate fresh fruit and produce, which Natalie then led the charge to pick up the food and deliver to local hospitals, including Rady's Children's Hospital. And then Natalie's efforts inspired other members of her church to step up as well. I will tell you, we are able to accomplish so much when we work together. I'd like to thank, particularly this week, all of the efforts of San Diego's faith institutions for your donations, your volunteer hours, and your efforts to keep our community, our great San Diego community, united during these very difficult times. And of course, thank you to all of our doctors, our nurses, our medical staff, and our hospital workers who are fighting for us day in and day out. When we get on the other side of this epidemic, and we will get there, it will be because we stepped up and took care of one another as one city. With that, I will pause and answer any questions from members of the media.
Mr. Mayor, we have one question from Andrew from Fox 5. How many city workers were furloughed, and what was the reasoning behind it?
Well, I tell you, we're working with all of our great city employees, and particularly over the last several weeks, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. Obviously, there's some new regulations that are kicking in right now in terms of the leave. We've been having paid leave for 3 months, and now some of these new federal regulations will kick in. And we're working with all of our employee groups to make sure that we minimize any impacts to our non-essential employees who have been out there doing phenomenal and great work. Obviously, the work of fire, rescue, police department, all of that will continue and is continuing, and we're going to continue to work with our employees as we move forward. We're going to need to make some difficult decisions as a city, just like many businesses across the city are making right now. But we will make them with care. We will make them looking ahead not just at the short term, but at the long term. And when we do that, I think that's going to position us for the best opportunity for our city and for our great employees that are out there every single day. Any other questions from members of the media? With that, thank you. This will conclude today's briefing, and look forward to speaking with you tomorrow. Thank you.